Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly rundown where we touch on the top stories of the past week and what is up ahead. This week we have an exciting show. We're going to break down the top 3 stories up ahead. The very first story that we're going to break down is Canada turns 3 years old. Yes, you heard it. The Canadian cannabis industry has hit the 3-year mark, and now is a time for deep reflection on what has transpired over that last 3 years. Happy birthday, Canadian cannabis. Happy birthday to you, Canada cannabis. Yeah. And so not everybody is happy 3 years after cannabis legalization, but some are. After 3 years of legalization, there are many good and not so good reasons to be happy about the Canadian cannabis industry and how the legalization was rolled out here in Canada. The good news is the Canadian cannabis industry has hit a milestone and has hit monthly records for the first half of 2021, with Ontario becoming the biggest market by far in sales and Toronto the biggest city across the country. In fact, Toronto's monthly sales in August hit $46 million, almost equivalent to the total sales of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador combined. We're 3 years into the Canadian cannabis industry. Canadians still prefer dried flowers. Second to dried flowers is extracts, oils, and concentrates. Rounding out near dead last are edibles and beverages, accounting to less than 6%. There's still a lot of potential with edible and beverages, but consumers today still prefer dried flower by a very large percentage. So who are the big winners in the Canadian cannabis industry? Consumers are ultimately the big winners in cannabis here, with consumers in Ontario benefiting the most in the last 18 months with the rapid opening of licensed stores and dispensaries across the province. Stores are opening so frequently that Torontonians have now resorted to complaining about store density as a brand new pastime. Our view is very simple. The market will decide winners and losers, and store densities will find a nice equilibrium as consumers make their preferences known. Until then, expect more stores to compete on elevated service, better product offering, and loyalty reward initiatives. We have 2 dispensaries walking distance from our home office, and we visit both regularly. Having 2 dispensaries close by means both dispensaries compete on service, product offering, and price. Ultimately, consumers will win in an increased market of competition where price, availability, and product offering become king. One of the benefits of store density is if you have a favorite product and it is out of stock in one store, it is a short walk distance to another to see if that store has your product choice offering. Again, consumers ultimately are the biggest winners in the Canadian marketplace in terms of access, availability, and product choice offering. What needs to be improved? Cannabis is still tightly regulated in the Canadian marketplace, more regulated than alcohol and tobacco, even though alcohol and tobacco contribute more to our healthcare costs and reducing the quality of life. Cannabis, in comparison, is used for medicinal patients and has the potential to address pressing issues around sustainability and the environment. Unfortunately, regulations and strict limitations on marketing, packaging, excessive taxation, licensing requirements, lack of equity and diversity initiatives have left the Canadian cannabis losing ground globally as an example of how to nationally roll out an equitable cannabis legalization program. Moving down south to the US, Delta-8 has been declared illegal according to state law in Texas. Texas declared Delta-8 illegal, impacting more than 2,000 hemp dispensaries, retailers, and dispensaries in the state. There's a lot of confusion on the enforcement of this new rule and when the law actually came into effect. as many dispensary owners and business owners had no official warning or notification from the Texas Department of State and Health Services. The U.S. passed the Farm Bill, which among other things, regulated hemp production, research, importation of seeds, interstate transportation, licensing requirements, all under Title X of the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill defines hemp as federally as cannabis that has less than 0.3% of THC. Although federal law regulates hemp, individual states are responsible for its licensing, its control, health and safety, product testing, and production and possession. Businesses are now considering suing the state, asking for a temporary restraining order against the Department of State and Health Services. The confusion is compounded by Texas Governor Greg Abbott signing into law HB 1325, which regulates industrial hemp production, occupational licensing, authoring fees, and of course, regulates administrative penalties. The law also makes a distinction between hemp and marijuana. The law does not contain any regulation or language around Delta-8. So Delta-8 is the little sister to Delta-9, the potent big brother found in recreational and medicinal cannabis. Delta-9 is a psychoactive cannabinoid which is identical in molecular formula to Delta-8, but with distinctly different atom arrangements. As with Delta-9, Delta-8 has medicinal properties and similar psychoactive effect as its more famous Delta-9. Many medicinal patients have turned to Delta-8 to manage medical symptoms and improve their quality of life. Opponents of Delta-8 say it has not been regulated by the FDA. Products can contain harmful chemicals used to extract Delta-8 from industrial hemp plants. And the last story of the week, the cannabis industry takes over Las Vegas. MJ Biz and MJ Unpacked descended onto Las Vegas last week. And from our newsfeed on LinkedIn and Twitter, it looks like an action-packed event filled with networking opportunities and that critical component of being able to meet face-to-face with business partners. MJ Biz celebrated its 10th anniversary. One more song? Yeah, let's do one more song. Happy anniversary. All right, I'll stop. This year's most talked about subject was growth. Yes, for 2022 and how to continue the expansion of the cannabis industry across the U.S. Expect many deals, consolidations, expansions, and capital raises in the next 12 to 18 months in cannabis. Reviews at Daymon John's keynote presentations are strong, with audience giving him a standing ovation as he talked about growing up in New York, starting FUBU at his home and running it from his home, and important lessons given to him by his mother. We hope to see the streaming version of this talk and of all the talks of MJ Biz and MJ Unpacked online soon. Now let's jump into the jobs of the week. Jobs of the week, our first job of the week is Fika Herbal Brands is looking for a brand ambassador in Toronto. They opened up a brand new store in Scarborough and are looking to staff that store with a brand ambassador. An exciting opportunity to jump with a growing brand. Velvet Management is looking for a sales coordinator out of Mississauga, Ontario. Velvet Management is a sales and marketing distributor, helping cannabis companies drive more product sales and better distribution. That's an exciting opportunity, looking for a sales coordinator out of the Mississauga, Toronto region. And next we have Bloom&Oil. Bloom&Oil is looking for a CBD brand ambassador. This job can be located anywhere in the US or anywhere in Canada. In fact, the uniqueness of this job is the top 3 candidates will all get cash prizes, with the number 1 getting a job to essentially get paid reviewing CBD products from home. These are the top 3 jobs of the week. For more detailed information on these jobs, hit the link below and we'll fill you in with some of these details. Upcoming event next week's upcoming event, USA CBD Expo, hits Chicago on October 28th to the 30th. This event will be in McCormick Place. This is the largest CBD event in North America. You do not want to miss this event. Next month is a Black Canna Conference and Expo, and that will be in New Orleans from November 18th to the 20th. Well, this has been a great week. Thank you guys for tuning in to our weekly rundown. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week ahead. And so just before you leave, just hit the like, hit the subscribe, let us know, leave a comment if you enjoy these videos, if you want us to do more weekly rundowns or re-rundown the top stories in cannabis, and also give you the top jobs and the events up ahead. Leave a comment and let us know. I'm Brian Sekandi. I'm the co-founder of Careers Cannabis. Careers Cannabis is an online job search engine where you can find and search for jobs in the cannabis industry all across the United States and Canada. We'll see you guys next week.